Welcome to What's Your Story, where we, Jaime Marco,
and Stan Brown,
delve into the extraordinary lives of everyday people.
Listen in as we uncover the unique tales that shape who we are,
one story at a time.
Hey, let's get ready to explore today's story.
Let's do it.
Yes, it's us, and we're back in the same room. See? No. Get out of here. Get out of here. What's wrong with you? These young kids today, it's crazy.
Where do you see a young kid? I'm not so young anymore.
Listen, age is a relative factor, right? Am I telling you right? You agree with me? Yes, you do. Thank you very much.
Do you think you can you hear the audience talking back to you?
I do hear voices in my head. I'm just not sure whose they are, but thank you for the feedback.
Oh my goodness. Listener, it is a struggle. The struggle is real. So super stoked to be back together. This is like, I think episode 312 or something, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I'm exhausted.
Are you too tired? Are you exhausted? No, but we are close. We're like well over 30 No, maybe not. We're like, I think maybe close to 20 episodes.
Welcome to Podcasting with the Stars. Volunteer a friend or a family member, just jump on board. Call us. If you've got a story to tell, we'll decide whether it's important or not.
Well, today, this is someone who I actually encountered and I met. We're going to be talking to him. But when you talk about, you're retired. I am not. I'm still working full time. But it's really interesting to hear about the different roles of people who, worked in one career and then they did like their swan song in another place and kind of did some different things because being retired can sometimes be boring.
I really still have projects I'm working on. This is not the place to discuss those. We may bring them up at a future time, but I'm pretty active.
Yeah, like you are doing work that you're still working, but not like working for somebody else, I suppose you could say.
Well, I think maybe we'll have one session one day. I've invented a couple of products, got a couple of things patented, sold some stuff. I really think there's an invention inside every one of you. And that invention doesn't have to solve a problem, but you have an idea or concept and run with it, try it. It's fun.
I actually had an idea today I want to share with you, see your thoughts on it later. Not publicly because it's not ready. It's not been, baked out a little bit or baked in or whatever.
If you're thinking everyone's tuned in, just kind of slow your vibration down and think about it. Actually, okay. You should, if you nap more in the afternoon, a lot of ideas come in when you nap. Napping is very good.
Oh yeah, I'll get right on that because we all have time to nap.
I did it at work for years.
Should we just let our guests in?
Yes, please.
I actually bet our guest is you people napping.
We have a guest today?
We do.
I thought it was us.
Let him on in. Let's see. Here we go.
What's his name?
His name is Bruce.
Bruce. I like Bruce already.
So give it a hot minute as we let them in. So we use Zoom and it takes a second for people to get connected.
Bruce on the screen.
I know.
Bruce is connecting to audio.
Yes, Bruce is connecting to audio. We'll see Bruce in a second, I'm sure, as well, too. Hi, Bruce. Can you hear us? You're on mute, so you might want to come off mute.
Can't see you yet.
Oh, we can hear you now.
Hello.
Hi, Bruce. Can you see us and hear us?
I can see you, but obviously you're not seeing me.
We are not. I mean, I know what you look like.
I have no idea.
That's a problem you're going to have to live with.
Oh, hey, like the hair, brother. Good to see you.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying?
For those that are not watching and just listening, they are complimenting each other on their facial hair. So I'll let you guys, you need a moment for that?
No, we're good.
Okay, good. Bruce, meet my dad, Stan. Stan, meet Bruce.
Stan, how are you, sir?
Nice to see you, man.
Nice to see you. I hope both of you are doing well after these crazy weather here we had.
Oh, geez.
Well, we want to talk to you a little bit about that because I don't know if you were on site when some things happened to where your workplace is, but we'll get to that.
Right. We heard you blew the roof off.
But I'm bumped.
But you know what? Like talking about funny things is that I would get to see Bruce every so often when I go visit where he was, and he always had this like clever little thing on the hand sanitizer. Are you anywhere near one right now? Do you have one in front of you?
No, I am not.
Oh, so we'll talk about that as well too. But we are, first of all, thanks for being here. Thanks for agreeing to say yes to my crazy idea when I was like, you need to be on our podcast.
I appreciate you thinking about me.
We haven't got the compensation approved yet. So.
Checks in the mail, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Start off with a question. You get to answer it and let us know. On a scale of 1 to 10 today, where are you at? A 1 is like the lower end where you just feel like you should not be out peopling. It's a day where you probably should have stayed in bed, had covers over your head, and just not
As
been
they say in
contagious.
French, a shitty day.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah. No, I'm on it. Today is an 8. I just got back from visiting my son in England last night. So I'm a
Ooh.
little, my time's off a little bit, but I'm glad to be back. It was an adventurous trip back, but I'm here and no, all's good.
How long were you there for?
10 days.
Okay. Did we talk about climbing the O2? Did we talk about that?
You did, but I have I injured my knee a while back, and so I decided to put it off, but I'm going to give that a shot. At some point, my son's definitely going to do it. He wants me to go with him and run with the Bulls next summer in
Oklahoma.
Pamplona.
Oh.
So
You think you have a problem with
obviously,
me now? Wait to get over there. Forget about it.
yeah, exactly. As I tell my wife, she was pregnant with our 2 children, obviously a while back, but I've been pregnant for 30 years. So I've got to lose my pregnancy weight and
Let
then
it
get ready to
go.
run
Let
with
it
the Bulls.
go.
Yeah, because right now I'm not running with the Bulls. I'm walking near the Bulls.
Well, the O2 is not anywhere near running with the Bulls. It is way easier. My 9-year-old could do it. So like don't even like stress about that.
But no,
But
I did mention to my son, he's definitely going to give a shot. He's in the U.S. Navy over in Japan, in England. And so we have opportunities to go and visit.
it's
He's,
so
he's
nice.
stationed there?
Yes, he is stationed at an Air Force base. My son's an intelligence specialist.
Well, can we talk about
So
this? Are we
yeah,
like
so he does a lot of secrets. My conversation with him for how was your day at work was I can't talk about it, and then we move on to the weather. So
Wait a minute. I must have I have that relationship with my wife.
hey, there you had the formula for success. See?
Yes, success is questionable.
But you have had, so I think it's so cool what you're doing now, but also like you've had quite the interesting path of where you got to. So are you originally from like where you are now? Where you're in Florida?
No, I was born and raised in a little river town in Illinois till I was 12, and then my dad's company moved us to the Atlanta area. And I lived there until 3 years ago when I retired from education. And now I live in Gulfport, Florida.
And how were you after the storm? Because Gulfport got hit really hard. And we're talking, so this isn't airing for a few weeks, but we're talking about the like triple play hurricanes that we've had this last September.
The first hurricane, Helene, cost me my truck, but that's okay. It cost us, we were without power for 6 or 7 days. I'm not going to play. I'm just trying to give you because there's
Yeah,
people
yeah.
who got much worse. We're a second floor condo, so we didn't get any kind of water damage or anything to our condo. We were very fortunate. People on our first floor of our building were not quite as fortunate. Downtown Gulfport took a pretty good beating for sure. But like when most things happen, people come together and like the Phoenix, it'll rise up.
That's amazing. And then
How was Uncle Milty? Worse?
Uh, yeah, it's, just time, I guess, is going to be anything else. It's just, it's the unfortunate thing of we all dealt with here is you recovered from one and then just the left hook came the next week. It was just, wow,
yeah, it's been terrible. But you always have this incredible outlook. Like every time I've interacted with you, there's never once been any time that I've ever had a hint of like it's a crappy day. Like not even one time. Where does that come from for you?
I think life's experiences, in that there's so much more to life when you look at through a prism of what's the positives I can get out of this? How can I impact people positively? You got to feed that to your body.
Question.
You got to give it to yourself. But I just generally enjoy people. I always like to ask questions. I'm a curious by nature person. I love reading and trying to find out information, but more importantly, talking to people, not texting, not emailing, talking to people. More importantly, if you can do it like we're doing face to face on some level, that is where I just absolutely love it.
How have you channeled that into your life to make it part of what you do? Like I know your background, but share with the listeners how you have surrounded yourself with people in your world and made that part of like your life.
Again, once I got out of the Navy, I was in the Navy too. I was stationed in Japan. Got to see all that part of the world. I got to see the Middle East, Africa, Australia. It was just wonderful. But I got into education afterwards and became a middle school principal and did that for 12 years. And the energy that those kids give you, I loved it. And,
And it was middle school, like the worst age possible.
I, here's why I like them, because they're at that point in life where I think they could kind of go either way in life. And you want to connect with them in a way. And as you get older, it gets a little harder to connect because your span of time that they understand and you live together gets farther apart. But I think they just, like any other human being, they want to be heard. They want to be listened to. They want their concerns to be addressed if possible. And then sometimes, like you said there, they just whine too much and, hey, suck it up and go to class. I mean, that's the way it's got to be. But the people I have worked with, great people. I have been blessed to work with great people. Again, my wife brings an energy that makes mine look dormant. So she's still a teacher and she teaches at St. Pete High School. So I still get to live vicariously through her and ask her about her students. I just think something that we're getting lost is texting and emailing. And I know we don't have time all the time to meet with someone. I understand that, but that's where the rubber meets the road.
What's the age range in middle school?
11 to 14.
Whoa,
so you have some sixth graders who could not reach their top locker. We had to give them little stools. And then you got other ones that look like they're 18. Yeah. But at the end of the day, usually when they start talking individually, most of them are great. Sometimes when they get that group think, like all of us did at that age, my mom used to say, I love you and I love your friends. But sometimes when you're together, you're not too smart. And you just got to show kids, I told my kids, I'm talking about my own children and kids, someone's always watching. And what I mean, not in a negative way, but someone's always there watching. And maybe one day that's going to come back to help you. Yeah. Because they see how you act when others aren't around. And I think that's truly what makes up someone's soul is I'm not doing this because people watching, I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do.
I love that you said there could be someone there to help you versus like there could be someone there to hurt you based on what they've watched. I love how you flip that. I think that's like such an incredible just view and how to help somebody. I love that.
Kids are genuine. Like I said, hey, not every day's perfect. And honestly, I wouldn't want it to be that way because you got to have your ups and downs. I tell kids all the time, there were plenty of kids, and there still are, my own children, that are way smarter than me. But what I have, because I've hit my head against a wall before, is now I have wisdom. And you can see it with the gray. It's just simply, let's look at another way that we can do this. And how can I help you? But more importantly, how can you help yourself to get better at whatever it is you're trying to do as a student, as a person? Academics are incredibly important, but for many kids, that's not the first thing on what they need during the day or during the school year. They need other things. And you've got to bring that to the table for them and other people you work with, because as they say, if they don't think you care, it much doesn't matter after that.
Yeah, it's that socio-emotional side that they're, especially because they're raging hormones, right? They're like totally trying to figure out who they are in that age. There's a book by John Haidt, and it's called The Anxious Generation. I'm not sure if you've read it, but it's all about the impact that we're all feeling right now based on this device-centered world. And I can't tell you how many times I talk to someone like, thank goodness there was not social media back in the day when I was in middle school.
100%.
The only pictures of that were like the yearbook. And these kids are really struggling with a lot of the bullying's happening.
Yeah, but collectively as a society, we've lost years ago, the Indian tribes or whatever, all the elders or the ancients, you would go to their councils for a bit of wisdom. And I think in our particular culture, older people have been diminished significantly, whether it's a situation comedy or you're old or you've got dementia, whatever. So I think we've lost the aspect of people have walked down that path before. Listen, you may be learning something, but it has to reverse itself to some degree.
Well, we've made celebrities and TikTok stars and YouTubers be those elders now, right? Like it used to be like, I'm going to go talk to my parents or I'm talk to like my principal or talk to my professor or talk to my mentor to get some advice. But now people are like, oh, hold on a second. Let me just Google this and see what I can find out
Yeah.
from who's like a YouTuber using AI that's fake. So
I've told kids, again, with kids, but I think adults too, there's good peer pressure. And then there is some bad peer pressure because there's been many times where I've seen kids say to other kids, hey, don't do it. Or, you know, help her pick up her books, you know, so there is that good peer pressure. But to your point, Jamie, I do think that instance, because also that phone's not going to usually argue with you because you're going to find what you want to hear.
yeah.
And sometimes, as we know, the truth hurts, but it's as a former coach or whatnot, when they stop talking to you, when I say yelling, I mean that in the nicest way as a coach, then that's when the caring has gone away. I've had it with you. Because most success does not happen in isolation. And you got to have that group effort. You know, it takes a village, that type thing of bringing, especially children, because, you know, they may switch classes, but we made it a point of, I want my teachers talking about kids. Hey, I want to let you know, Johnny's coming to you. He has head down on his desk. He's may still be tired, but the counselor told me, I don't know, they had a flood in their house last night or whatever. And then you got to keep that information moving forward. And then not just that, you got to follow up.
Yes.
How are things going? What other needs do I need to bring forward to these children or staff? Because my motto was faith, family, ... work. If you got the first two in order, whatever your faith is, whatever your family is, because every family is different. They could be biological, they could be otherwise. You got those in order, I got you for work. I know your head's there, and here we go. And that's the same way with kids when they come to school.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny. My daughter is in different sports. And yesterday we were at a sport and there was another little girl there and I know her parents and I always go and I watch her in her sport. I'm not on my phone. I'm watching what she's doing and she sees that. And then you look at the parents around you and you see they're all on their phones and it makes a difference. It makes a big difference. My daughter knows that I'm watching her and she'll say, oh, mommy, did you see when I did that? And I can say, yes, I saw that. And
100%.
so I messaged the other mom and I said, I can bring her home if you want. She goes, oh, you guys can come here for dinner. I said, I appreciate that, but we have our family dinner. And she said, you have family dinner? I said, she goes, do you guys have dinner together every night?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we do. And I know, listen, I know that there's like sports, but my personal opinion is that we've lost that. You know, like we did sports growing up, we did all those things, but we made that, like you said, family a priority over our sports. And there were some nights where I had cheerleading or I had taekwondo and maybe dinner was later or whatever, but I never sat at the table by myself. I never had a meal by myself. It was like at least one of my parents would sit down with me, even though I had other siblings. And we've lost that because people are so either addicted to their devices or they're working.
We gave it up.
Or, you know, it's been really, and that is not a American thing. That is like a global problem.
It is. My time living in Japan, talking to what Stan was talking about, how they even today still, I don't know if there are, I'm sure there are, but like older folks' homes there, because that family, you'll have 3 generations in a house. It's just that simple. And they are a person you go to, like Stan was talking, you know, tell me, what can I do? Again, you have to make the decision, but you're just asking me to bounce some ideas off me. And I truly appreciate about that society of Asia, of how they still dignify and treat their older folks with honor.
Yeah, it's incredible. So you were a teacher.
No, hold on. This is time for the very important transitional question. Could make
Sure.
right? When was the first time, Dave, You had a UFO experience.
That's Bruce.
Bruce.
That's okay. Dave, listen,
Having an Alzheimer's experience.
as a principal, I used to tell them, if you're going to write my name on the bathroom wall, you better spell it correctly. And, I used to put a Post-it note up there saying, thank you, whoever wrote this. And we'd paint over it. A UFO, I don't know if I've ever seen a UFO, but
Anybody close ever relate the story to you, or nothing so far?
nothing really. When you're at sea, and I think, Jaime, you had talked to me one time. At one time, you worked for cruise lines or something to that effect. And you're probably going to hear this. When you're at sea in the middle of whatever, the Pacific Ocean, and you're running dark as a Navy ship, and you look up and you go, man, I'm seeing the same stars that, someone 2,000 years ago, and there's so many stars, you can't count them. You just realize what a world we live in. It's just a beautiful place.
So you have seen the Milky Way firsthand, have you not?
Yes.
Spectacular. That's really, truly awesome.
On the bucket list.
Well, okay, we transition. Next thing.
Okay, so you were a teacher from what year to what year?
I taught from 1998. I taught for 5.5 years, and then I was asked to interview for a administrative job, and I got hired.
So you were in education from 98, just about 4 years ago.
98 until 4 years ago, yes. Okay. So 30 years, roughly, somewhere in there, 26, 27 years.
Okay, so you have certainly seen the landscape of middle schoolers and society and the impacts change over those years. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to think of what year Columbine was. Was that 99?
I think it was in 99. Yeah, we and again, when that occurred, you didn't know about it till you got home, because there was no social media, there was no computers the kids could get on, there was no cell phones. Yeah. And then, and again, I'm not saying good or bad, just different. The next day, we just picked up and kept going. There was no school counselors for grieving, none of that. It was just a different time, because I think we were isolated more, and that was good and bad at the same time.
Yeah. Well, now we're seeing it. And I know it's been happening up in where you are, where you're at, where we are, where there are constant, before the hurricanes. I mean, we had one right after the hurricane as well, too, but all of these threats. And so you talk about the psyche of those middle schoolers. They start to understand the world even better, understand what's going on. And you were talking about that faith and that family and the work. But what did you see as an administrator that was helping your kids navigate the heaviness of the world that they are living in now, because they have so much access to that information?
Let me just give you an example. When I first started teaching, you'd go into the cafeteria at lunch and it was just a buzz, because you finally got to talk to your friends, and we all remember that, right? It's just, my gosh, you haven't seen them for 2 hours, but you're going to go hug them and everything else. I walk into a cafeteria now and the volume is way lower. Why?
Are they allowed to have devices in the cafeteria?
That is changing, but for a while it was wide open. Okay. And it's just, even on a school bus, because I was in charge of transportation, I drove a school bus. Hey, we've all been on a school bus. Wow. But even now, they put their headphones in, they start listening to music. And for the bus driver, it's probably a little better. But I don't know if it's better for life that we're not engaging in conversations. And kids, again, I think at every school, my staff made it a point to, somebody's going to connect with every kid at least once every 2 weeks. That could be 3 minutes in the hallway. And we didn't put a list or anything, but we made sure every kid had an opportunity just to talk to someone who was not their teacher per se, but it could have been a previous year teacher or someone they don't have that they just connect with. And again, I think they need to have that outlet, not that they can't with their parents, but like all of us, we don't want to tell our parents everything. That doesn't mean it's bad. Yeah. As adults, we know when we have to get the parents involved. Yeah. And so I think that's where the heaviness, you can take some of that burden off children. And I made it a point when I first got there, my staff would, when they talk to parents, they'd say, your student's doing well, or your student needs help. And I stopped. I said, they are our students they are their child. And I want it to be addressed as that is their child. I want to make that delineation simply that you are the parent. We love the students here, but this is your child. We're going to do what's best for them.
I love that. I saw a few months back, there was I think it was a middle school principal who actually surrendered his office and chose, and you may have seen this article, it was on the Today Show, and got a rolling cart for the hallway instead and gave up his office because what he found is that when he was always sitting, and I doubt you were that principal always sitting in your office, but some people, you get caught up in that where you're answering your emails, you're always in there dealing with team members. Sure. And so he made a rolling cart and was just rolling the hallways. He did that first. And after that, his vice principal did it, because you're right. Like, being present and actually seeing what's happening and being able to share with other teachers. Hey, I saw little Johnny. I don't know why I said little Johnny, but to keep in mind,
they're always little Johnny, right? Johnny,
exactly. Little Susie, little Johnny. Didn't look so great today. Have you checked in with him? And maybe it's the music teacher, maybe it's the band coach, maybe it's back in the day we had shop, or what was it called? Home ec, no home ec, home ec. And
I had home ec, yeah.
And home ec. It wasn't called shop though. It was called something else. I forget what it's called.
Industrial arts.
Something like that. But, and just like being more aware of what you see. And that's a huge piece of it. We had this conversation today, is that even in one of our schools here during lunch, they're showing cartoons on a TV and there's some learning stuff, but we're like, why are we doing that? These kids have the opportunity to talk with each other. We should be putting up there, ask your friend this question, right? Put up their thought-provoking questions, because what's happening on the buses and in schools, it's bleeding into the workplace. And we're now starting to see, and I'm starting to see that as I coach teams, people that don't know how to have a conversation.
No, and it is interesting, because I grew up where, my dad would say, look me in the eye when I'm talking to you. And I would have that conversation. Now, there are some cultures where I had to adapt that is just not part of their culture. They look down, and that's fine. I can work with that. But again, we did it in teams. When I would go observe my teachers, I wanted them. Listen, it doesn't take a lot to know when a teacher would go in and call on their A student. That's not what I was looking for. I want you to call on the kid who's not wanting to participate in class, not embarrass them, but you could throw up a softball question too. But I think too, Jamie, we talk about children, but unless your staff feels that, once they feel that, the people you work with, then they're going to be much more inclined to bring that forward to the children that they're helping.
But see, to me, you're the general, you're a gregarious person. So I think the team that you led would share that same kind of philosophy. I think my experience growing up was years ago that the principal was the position of authority, and he almost never came out of his office. And when he came out, you better watch out. It was serious stuff. So
yeah. Actually, my first desk, Jamie, as an assistant principal, was in a hallway. It literally was I kid you not, the power ran through the door. I had to unplug it and put it out in the power outside at night when we lock up the school. But I had, every 9 weeks, I would have my teachers, I just made 4 squares, and they would write comments. I wanted them to write. I wanted nothing typed, because I think when you type, a lot of times the program will fill in words for you or kind of lead you somewhere. I said, no, you must handwrite.
Much more personal, sure.
Yes, because I think you got to put more thought to it. Okay. Yeah. And I had one that wrote in there of a concern. You're never in your office. And I thought about that for a minute, and I said, I'm glad I'm never in my office, because I didn't want to be that person. I want to be out there helping. If I needed to go serve in the lunch line or whatever my staff needed me to do, because all I wanted them to focus on was teaching. Me and other administrators will take the rest of that stuff off your plate. And back to what you're talking about, Jamie, when students would come up that were having a disagreement or something, I'd sit them down in front of me, and I'd make them turn their chairs facing each other, and we'd sit down with a couple Diet Cokes, and I'd say, you tell me 3 things. You tell that person 3 things they don't know about you. You tell me 3 things they don't know about you. I'm going to leave for 3 minutes and come back. Let's get this resolved. And I've never had one time where the kids, by the time it was all done, it was over. Instead of making it more than what it was. With parents, when they would take the time to come speak to me, because they're giving up something to come speak to me.
Yeah.
I would get out from behind my desk and sit next to them. I wanted that physical barrier removed of I'm over here and you're over there. I want to be next to you. I want to hear you. I want to see you. And I want to almost feel your voice telling me your concern or whatever it may be so that I can talk to you. If a parent couldn't come, I would tell myself, my administrators, you tell them we will go meet them at McDonald's at 6 o'clock at night, but I want to talk to them in person because an email loses something.
Yeah.
And when they see that passion, I think your parents then got to buy in.
Yeah. It's and the parents are a big part of it, right? Taking an active role. And we see it, so I've got a child in elementary school and very active PTO, very active families. And our middle school is very close. Like basically we go from our elementary school to the middle school, like very close. Like it's everyone goes there, oh, it goes over there. And the drop in participation is dramatic. When you
Unbelievable.
talk about you have, like you might have 50 parents who are incredibly actively involved and it goes down to 2 in middle school. And I almost wonder, it's like, why? Like, what is that? Why? And I'm not there yet in my life, but I know that I'm obviously anyone that knows me knows I will never be that parent that's not involved. It's just
Sure.
being. But I wonder, like, what happens, when they go from 5th to 6th grade of that, why that involvement drops, because the involvement does make a big impact on their relationship with administrators like you, knowing when to come in, knowing when to let you handle the problem and they don't have to get involved. So what do you think, what has been your experience to see like why there's that?
It's certainly dynamic. It's a very fluid situation. These kids as the kids are changing, the parents' relationship to the kids is changing as well.
Did you see that with us in middle school? Like, I feel like you guys were, I mean, maybe not you as much, but mom more was like.
It was so, we're going back a lot of years. Really, it was so different then. It's,
Don't age me that much.
No, I'm aging myself. I'm aging myself.
Jamie, at some point, and I hope it doesn't happen, but your daughter may say to you, I don't know, dropping off at a school dance or picking up, Mom, drop me off 2 blocks away and I'll walk.
Shut your mouth. You
right.
Shut your mouth, Bruce. You shut that mouth right now.
But, because, like everyone thinks they drove up, but
no, I get it. I mean,
we had to do whatever it was to get parents involved in science nights, STEM nights, anything. I would go to businesses and we would raffle off things if if a parent or some adult, because sometimes parents worked at night. I just wanted some sort of, we would try to hold something at night and then we try to hold something before the school, which could be a little hard for parents on different hours because of 2 parents working, et cetera, et cetera. I think what happens is we all get a little guilty of, well, they can go operate on their own now. I can catch my breath. I used to enjoy doing long trips. They didn't really like the car, but with my kids, because that's when you can get in their head, when you're just sitting there and you just start bringing up a conversation and they got nowhere to hide. They got nowhere to run. They can't go anywhere. You're not forcing down the throat, but then all of a sudden they'll just open up to you and say things. When I used to drive, sometimes our buses would be late or whatever. So I went and got my CDL so I could take kids home because I didn't want to be at school. I wanted to go home and have that home time. And it's amazing how the last 3 kids on the bus will all move up towards the bus driver and just start talking to them. Mm-hmm. Oh, you learned about their uncle and their aunt and everything else.
Do you miss it?
Absolutely. 100% I miss it. It's genuine, but at the same time, I kind of had my ride. It's time for something. Now, there's a lot of things I don't miss about it in terms of just the constant battle on whatever side you're on at school boards and that kind of stuff gets frustrating. But my job was to buffer that from our staff.
So where is Bruce today?
I work for the Rays, which what a great group to work for.
And for those that don't know, those that are listening nation or worldwide, he's talking about the Tampa Bay Rays, which is a Major League Baseball team based in St. Petersburg, Florida. So sorry, go ahead.
No problem. And then I work at the local arena called Amalie Arena, where the National Hockey League team plays, and there's concerts and things like that there.
You get a concert ticket? Like hold on.
No. I work there selling beer.
Ah, that's right.
Wait,
That's
I'm
right.
going to go to the Jeff Dunham concert in January. You going to be there?
Section 130, come by and see me.
Um,
Will you be there
But
for
that
Cyndi
that
Lauper?
you name it, I've heard them and
when you
enjoyed
sell
it.
a beer, do like you throw it to the person or what?
It depends how many they've had, but no, that's great because again, people are all they're in good mood, right? Even and then the other thing I do currently is I work for the city of Gulfport. I help do some transportation things for them. They have a trolley that they have here, and I'll drive that around, pick up people. I helped them evacuate seniors in need prior to the hurricane to get them to shelters. We picked them up and got them where they needed to go because they didn't have anyone else here. So I do a little bit of work for them. So yeah, I'm retired.
Wow. Yeah, really retired.
Right, right. But it's I'd rather be doing that and being productive. And again, I really enjoy those conversations I have with these folks when they're on even this little trolley with me because I don't know, it's like being on a plane. They'll just start talking to you. And okay, tell me what you got.
What's the stadium update with the part of the roof being blown up? What's happened?
We have not been in there since, obviously, and I'm sure you've heard all the same, they want to get engineers and things like that to look at it. They're trying to find office space to set up the front office, the HR, the accounting, the ticket sales, because, hey, you got to keep moving forward. But at the same time, they're taking care of their own. And also, as you know, with the Tampa Bay Rays and the Rowdies, they are doing all sorts of fundraising for the community itself. So again, just a great place to work.
Did the roof blow off, blow in, fall down, or a combination of
All
all?
the above.
Were you there?
I was not at that one. I did 3 hurricanes there. And when listen, like any hurricane, that thing's basically a big sail up there, that roof. It's not a hard roof. And this time I think, Mother Nature won, and it's unfortunate because that's, the field's just not built to drain any water.
Was it planned to be used as a shelter? Then they had to cancel that last.
They did. They had cots set up for linemen, power linemen, but they got out beforehand because the winds they were told was going to be too high. And like I said, no one was hurt, thank goodness. The reason I didn't work that particular one is because I just simply said to my boss, listen, some other guys want some hours. I did the week before's hurricane, let them get some hours because, quote unquote, they need the money. I'm working because I, choose to. And boy, that was a good choice on my part that night, wasn't it?
Are an incredible organization that is really like all of their messaging is focusing on their community. They're like, well, we'll figure us out. We are here to make sure that our community has what they need. You're so right on that. I love that.
And
What,
communities need those standard bearers like
No
a
question.
sports team or a school district. When these things go down, I was completely enamored how well, when I helped these people go to these different schools, they gave them like a little placard, like it would look like a do not disturb sign on a hotel door. And they zip tie it to the older person's belt loop or whatever. And it had a QR code on it. That way, when they got to school, the person there could just zap it, their name, their address, what medications they're on, what this and that. And it's so streamlined.
was the evacuation stuff you were doing?
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
One of the benefits of technology.
that's amazing.
That is, you're right, Sam, because here I was 20 minutes ago, not speaking well of technology, but in this case, what a great thing, next of kin, who to contact, whatever. And that's just a great use of technology.
Incredible. So going to your beer hawking.
Yes.
That's what you're calling.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it
Oh,
that.
bear.
Well, it used to be, I mean, like you're doing cans, not draft, right? Like it's like you're like
Correct. Out on the concourse because they don't sell beer in the stands. You have to come, even at concerts, you got to come to the concourse. Unlike baseball, which has its opportunities, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. Whereas hockey, as you know, you could go 7-8 minutes and the whistle never blows. So they don't want people distracted and people in their way.
What's my limit? Can I buy 4 beers at a time?
You are allowed to buy 2 beers, 25 ounces each at a time.
It's a big house. It's big. It's
I would
huge.
be like drunk off of that. Like,
Yeah, you would. That's where you get your beers and go right down to the bathroom because you're just going to stand. You, as I tell them, listen, you're just renting this. You're going to get rid of it in about an hour. So enjoy the rent. It's a lease to purchase deal.
What's been your best, most exciting event that you've been able to be at because of that job that you have?
Um, the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Okay, yeah. Which one?
But because of I think my love of like Journey and those groups. I'm an 80s kid.
Don't
I
stop
just,
believing.
yeah, I love being at those concerts because the time really goes by fast and you're tapping your foot and you next thing you know, you look down and someone at the hot dog stands doing their dance. And, it's just a lot of fun because as we all get older, how more often you're going to get to hear these groups play.
Yeah.
And I think you probably noticed this. Are there any new bands? I'm talking about bands out there. A lot of individual singers with backdrop, but where are the bands
Oh no, I don't think so.
that are up and coming? There's group singers, but I'm talking about someone's on the drums, someone's on the bass, someone's on the lead, and
And
it's
it's
something
not where it's
new.
not like computer generated. Like,
Yes, and it's new. Like here they go.
yeah, I
Hey,
don't know.
please,
You know,
come back.
Who?
Guess.
Who?
Guess.
I don't know.
Millie Vanilli.
Oh my, they
They
can't have a
are.
lip
Yeah,
syncer.
well, only one of them's coming back.
what happened to the other guys? He's gone?
He's deceased.
Oh, that would be the reason for him.
Now,
Millie or Vanilli?
What was the name of that hockey club
I
again?
I don't know, but listen, I was in the club back in the day doing I've been searching high.
Oh, listener, if you are listening and not watching the YouTube, you need to like come and watch the video just for that moment right then and there.
That's right.
What was the name of the hockey cup again?
Oh, really?
Yes, it is. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, the Stanley Cup. Yeah, no doubt, right?
I can't get enough of that stuff.
Oh my gosh, too funny. Well, so what's next for you? Like you have done so much. What is something that you want to do outside of running with the Bulls? What is something that's on like your list of like, hey, I've got this time now. I mean, I know you're doing 3 different jobs,
my friend, you belong on a Harley. Look at you. Come on, huh?
I do. And I gotta, that may be something. I don't know. I enjoy spending time with my family. Again, my wife of 29 years is my heart and soul. She's the most important thing to me, other than my children. And I enjoy spending time with them. I want to continue to be impactful in their lives. I want them to understand the difference between being proud and having pride with how they deal with things. I think that's important. My wife and I think, unlike a lot of people today, our relationship, because I was in the service and I was at sea, is we wrote letters for the first 6 months. There was no phone calls, no emails. You just kept waiting for that next letter. And again, when you write, it comes from a different thought process, I think. And so I just want to be impactful. I want to pay it forward. I know that's kind of a used line, but I do. I want to, wherever I am, if someone needs to just talk or get some ideas, or more importantly, I want to laugh.
What do you do to keep yourself healthy and for wellness?
I ride my bike. I love to ride my bike. It's different when in Atlanta. I'm sure you've been there. It's very hilly. I come down here and I'm thinking, man, I'm doing great because it's, flat like a pool table. And I figured out you got to figure out other ways to get that intensity up. So I'm trying to get, working through that. I enjoy just going and walking. Again, I live right on the water, Boca Ciega Bay. So that's exciting for me. And with the jobs, it keeps me busy.
I love that. I have 2 things I want to say to you. So my father-in-law, forever, when he was working, he's now retired in many years. When he was working, he would wake up every morning before my mother-in-law and he would write her a little Post-it note and he would leave it in the kitchen for her. And so when we go to their house now, you open up the kitchen cabinet and it's just hundreds of, they saved them in the inside of the cabinet. And so those letters that you have will be an incredible story to tell your grandchildren and your great grandchildren. And my daughter sees that and she sees the love that's there. And I think that's like, 100%. I hope you got those letters. The other thing I wanted to ask you, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that the first day of school, the night before, I had, I don't know, 70 teachers or something. I'd get Post-it notes and I'd write them each individually a note and put it in their room. I did that for all my years, and I get so many now say I still have them. Um, it's just much more impactful because you took the time to write it. And like I said, those letters, my wife, I still keep them to this day. I used to keep a file. It was basically a shoebox. When kids would write me a note as a teacher, as a principal or parent, and I just put in it because there are days, as we all know, you're just going, man, I'm not getting this done. And I'd reach in that box and just start reading a few things and saying, hey, you're making a good impact. Keep moving forward.
I love that. I wanted to end with asking you a question because my husband and I recently had this debate about something. We were at the airport, we were flying somewhere with my daughter, and I saw a gentleman in uniform. And my initial instinct is always to say thank you. And I say thank you for your service. And my husband says they don't want to hear that. I'm like, how do you know? He's never served. I'm like, how do you know that I don't want to hear it? He's like, they're probably over it. Like they're probably like, whatever, stop asking me. I'm like,
over it.
no, hold on. So I'm like, okay, well, let me go ask the guy. So he walks out and I'm like, I just wanted to say thank you for your service, but I also had a question, sir. I said, does that get annoying when people say it to you? And he actually did come back and he was like, well, sometimes it's kind of like, okay, whatever. And maybe, it's a preference, but I'd be curious knowing that you served, your son is also serving as well too. What's the take on that? And this is really so I can go to my husband and be like, nah, 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 boo, boo, but, or maybe not. You tell me.
I think it is nice to hear, but at times, I guess it's not comparable. But I think a baseball player is always autographs. Yeah, thank you. I mean, it is nice to hear, but yeah, at the same time, I just rather kind of keep walking. It depends on, you were talking, we started this conversation. Are you a 2 or are you an 8?
Yeah.
Are you a 1 or are you a 7?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's good to hear it. After I got home from Desert Storm, there was this rush of people, and all I wanted was some pizza and beer, but at the same time, you got to respect those people who are saying thank you. And we all, whatever you do in life and someone says thank you, I think we owe it to them to respond. And I just simply say it was an honor to serve. Not a problem.
You can say thank you for the pizza.
Absolutely.
And then you can say thank you for the beer when you see him and get a beer from him. There you go.
Oh, listen, I'm telling you, you come by me. I got it down. You crack it open when you go to, because during concerts, you have to pour. It's up to the artist, and I'd say 99 out of 100 want it poured because, unfortunately, in this world, people like to throw things.
Oh.
And when it's poured, it will disperse before it gets to wherever.
Yeah.
So you open it up like the old shotgunning a beer. Then you crack open the other side, and it pours even better, and you're ready to go. I got guys who come up and say, "Can I shotgun one?" I'm like, "No, you can't shotgun."
So you don't do like the St. Regis. You take the sword and you go up to the thing, and the thing falls.
Listen, when it comes to, I want the tip, right? So let's make this happen. What can I do for you?
What brands of beer do you serve up there?
For you name it, they have it. For hockey though, you always want to make sure you have Labatt's and Molson because that's kind of a hockey beer. But they have you name the beer they got. My wife also works at the Bourbon Bar at 214 there, so she's our mixologist at the house.
How's the graph on Bud Light going down, going up?
It was down most of all of last season, but I think it's now making its way back into people's lives. Because I would tell people, okay, you're not buying Bud Light, but do you know all these other beers over here that you're buying that they own? So all the money did was move from this to this, but it still went to Budweiser.
Yeah, people don't educate themselves, unfortunately. But...
Well, that day's done. Jeff Dunham is a little was people.
Oh, anyway, we don't talk about that stuff on this call. But hey, listen,
he's a ventriloquist.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Was he on America's Got Talent?
No, he's long. He was a
He does the Stan, he does the puppets, right?
Ahmed the Dead Terrorist. He does Walter.
Yes.
I think you're going to see that.
Oh yeah. He's
even my 26-year-old and 27-year-old love him. They just think he's
hey, that's my crowd.
See, you could be a teacher because you could connect to students.
It's always good to set an example of what not to do. Yes, I
agree. There is that, right? What don't you want to do in life? You got, as the youngest child, I'd learned that because my older brothers and sisters would always say, oh, he doesn't get, I'd say, listen, I watched you. What ticks mom and dad off? I'm not going to do it.
Good wolf, bad wolf.
Absolutely.
Which one you're going to feed?
Woo, you're not kidding. Because man, the feedback you're going to
Oh,
get back is going to be tough. So, Jaime, I've different people I talk to at the Rays who have been a part of your leadership things. First of all, always thank you for the candy. Uh,
You're
oh,
very
thank you for the
welcome.
candy.
There you go. You're very
she
welcome.
listen, she doesn't.
I go to the 30. He's like, what do you have? I'm like, lots of
She
candy.
gets
She
the free
is
from the dentist.
she is the Amazon of candy. I mean, she
That's
has got it.
the
You know,
inside
hey,
of
I
you.
want a half-eaten Newton bar, baby Ruth. Pull it out. Boom, she's got it. But she comes in with her grocery cart
I
slash
know.
deal there. But
No.
no, people speak highly of you. And when I ask, because again, I don't want to just say how you doing or good morning. I want to engage. And well, how was the presentation today? What did you pick up from it? That piece of nugget. And they speak highly of you. So if you don't hear from them directly, I'm going to tell you indirectly
I
that
appreciate
those things are spoken well of you, and you are making an impact on people, because a lot of these kids may not be at the Tampa Bay Rays 10 years from now. They may be, and they're going to carry all that forward, the knowledge and your love of life.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Ooh,
that.
very nice, very
So
nice.
thank you. I was in the night of the storm when we lost power and we were just listening to the radio. We have an emergency radio. We're listening. And I was starting to like put my daughter to sleep and I was kind of falling asleep and they announced, they're like, you heard them on the radio go, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. I'm like, well, and I woke up, they're like the stadium, I was literally in tears. I was so scared. I mean, it's terrible what's happened to the building. We know there's a new stadium coming, but I was so fearful because I knew people that were
Could be
working that
interesting.
night and it was just so it was so I
I
love
used
it
to,
much.
when I would work the hurricanes, the other ones I've worked, my wife go, "You going to be okay?" I'd say to her, kind of joking, I said, "Listen, I'm in a stadium that's got 3 huge backup generators. There's coolers and coolers of beer. There's food everywhere. I'm good." And then boom, the roof comes off.
Well,
So,
let's book the new Titanic cruise.
and maybe
On
one of
that
those
note,
a 4D experience.
there you go. Well, I look
That
forward
that may
to
come
being
from it.
back up there soon, seeing your smiling face. I was trying to find one of the things that you had on here. You have all these so he does
I wish you
these
were my principal for crying out loud.
I know. I mean, if you ever decide to get back into it, I'm sure there's a few schools that would hire you for sure.
One of my
I'll
favorite
go
things I
back.
do every year is we had the local fake WWE type wrestlers come, and I would get in the ring with them, and they'd beat me up. But I was the guy that always would come out and give roses to the ladies and stuff like that, just schmooze. And it was a lot of fun. I'm telling you, kids are enjoyable.
Oh, absolutely.
It's so cute.
Educate through entertainment, I've always said.
Right. But I do. I like to write little notes, or I'll color something or whatever, just so that when people come in, they have something, again, that maybe they're not where they need to be emotionally yet because of what happened in the morning, what happened previous night. But then they'll ask me, how did you think of that? Or where did you get that idea? And that starts up a different conversation for them.
Well, it shows not only you're accessible, that you really give a damn. Makes a big difference.
I want to be, like I said, I usually even as a teacher, I remember when I first was a principal and I'd say to my secretary, "Hey, ask Miss Jaime come up. I want to talk to her." And teachers would tell me that'd make them so nervous because they didn't know what it was about. So I said, "Okay, no more." I would go down and talk to them
I love
because now they're in their space.
Wow.
And I just think it brings brings that level of let's talk.
Can you give an example? I was trying to find the one. I can't find it. Can you give an example of what you put, something that you would put on there, and we'll end with that. What's been one of the best ones that you've had that you've gotten the best feedback from?
Post-it notes?
So basically, you have a hand sanitizer or his little candy dish, and there's a little piece of paper with a joke on it. What's one that I can't think of them right now.
One of your faves.
Oh God, I don't know. I do a lot of things. I'll do those. Maybe something I thought of or funny, or how you wake up in the middle of the night, or I see something. Sometimes I'll just do today is National Whatever Day. I'll put. I'm trying to think of the one with the rabbit I had. He was not in a good mood, but the turtle came up and kind of had his arm around him, saying, "It's going to be a good day. Don't worry about it. I'll stick with you."
Didn't you have one like with matches or something? Were there two matches at some point or something that you did? I'm trying to remember. There was one that I was like, that's really clever. I can't remember. I mean, they're all clever. I can't remember what it was.
Um,
Circle me back to visit so I can see what's there.
yeah, yeah, it's I just like I said, those are the things I think that it just allows people that moment before they have to get truly engaged
Yeah.
in what they are being paid to do. Or I like when they'll say to someone, yeah, so and so told me, or they'll take a picture
Yeah.
and hopefully it takes them up. Some are hits, some are misses, but you
Yeah.
go with it. The idea is not to offend. The idea is maybe sometimes to make you think, but more importantly, to make you smile.
Well, and you do that, and you make me smile every time I see you. I can't wait to be back up wherever we are, seeing
Yeah,
your
no kidding,
smile.
right?
I know.
So, Stan, I got to ask you, how was she as a kid?
Jamie was not your.
Oh, I'm sorry. Time's up.
I rest my case.
There you go. Right. I have one
As
daughter. I
they,
don't know how you do it. So,
Bruce,
my
as
daughter
they
still has me
say,
wrapped. Huh?
past is prologue.
No, I will tell you, I will give you one story. Not that you asked him, but so when I was a kid, I laughed. I mean, I laugh all the time now, but there was one time we were having dinner and I got the giggles and I was giggling so hard. And my parents
And
like, you
what he
need to
gave
do
you
that for
advice. He
that?
gave you advice.
Yeah. And what did you tell me to go
Go outside and run around the house.
100%.
It worked. It worked.
What
100%.
did you
Listen,
Bro, she's gotten
that's
older. The house has gotten bigger.
that's what teachers do. I didn't realize this until you learn the game. That kid in class who has ants in his pants, whatever. Teachers would literally just write a note, um, and they would send them to another teacher. Note would say, "I'm just trying to let him burn off some steam," and
Oh
they'd
no.
fold it up and they'd say to him, "Take this down to Coach so and so," and then that kid could go out in the hallway and do his family circus walk, everywhere. He didn't know that the teacher was just simply letting him burn off some steam. Then they'd bring the note back.
Yeah.
And that's, again, the good teachers figure out ways to let's keep it moving. Sometimes it's more important to overlook some things and find another way for that outlet than to start arguing with the kid.
Well, you were clearly an incredible teacher when it was your profession and still an incredible teacher now that it's your passion as well too. So thank you for bringing your wisdom. Thank you for saying yes to us and being on this. We're so grateful. I love your story. If there's anything that you need with help in your area for helping stuff, please reach out. Let us know. We'd love to come volunteer and help if there's anything that's needed. And I can't wait to be back in a stadium somewhere, one of the two that you have or that you work at, to say hello and see your energy and your smile. And just thanks for being you. We appreciate you.
Yeah, and Stan, seriously, 1:30. Write that down. I'm usually at 1:30, the section. You come
Done.
by and see me at there, and I'll check you out. Or just ask for Bruce or the good-looking guy with the bald head.
And that's for all of our listeners. If you're going to be at Amelie Stadium, go
Come by
say
and
hi
see
to
me,
Bruce.
right?
Go say, I know
Yeah,
you, Bruce. Yeah. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
let's make you
Nope.
famous.
Yeah, yeah, that's and it will be. But no, good folks. Thank you for having me. Be blessed. Take care of your faith. Take care of your family, and everything else will work itself out.
And as soon as you have that first UFO experience, just give us a jingle. Telepathically.
I certainly will. Here, wait. I'm going to give you one last thing, Jamie. Here's a.
I'm sorry. I got to go run around the house.
Right, exactly. As people will say to you, tell me something about you that no one would think. I'm one of the few people I think that has ever been to Alaska and Hawaii in the same day.
Oof.
Oh,
So there you go.
mahalo.
Nanu, nanu. Nanu, nanu.
Y'all be good.
I'll ask you later.
Yes, sir.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
How are you?
Bye. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Bruce.
You're welcome. Bye.
My goodness, what an incredible episode. I mean, like, wow.
How do we do?
It's just fun, isn't it? I mean, are you having fun?
Yeah, it's just different people, different things. There's always a message out there. I think people need to just chat more.
I know. I remember my teachers. I remember almost all of my teachers. And it's incredible the impact. Like, they don't get paid enough because they work so hard. They are so
Yeah,
incredible.
but I think what's happened, my last years in corporate life, I think the same thing's happening in probably all professions. People are asked to do more with less resources.
100%.
And the problem is when you get that stretched thin, it's not good. You're living on the periphery. You lose that creative juice. I've always been a proponent of low goal setting. I think when you set low goals, you can achieve those and maybe go to the next level. But when you're so stressed doing stuff and you got to do this, you got a whole checklist, you're losing the innate ability to create and be innovative. That's just me.
I like that. I like that. I mean, I don't like that, but I like that.
No, I get
Yeah,
that.
you get that. Oh my goodness. Well, listener, we appreciate you joining us. Hey, if you're at Amalie Arena in Tampa, go say hi to Bruce. Tell him you heard his episode. I'm sure he would love to have that. And if you have a suggestion for a guest for us, you can visit us at jamiemarco.com, JAIMEMARCO.com/podcast. Listen, like, subscribe. We are doing this really just to share stories of everyday people doing really cool things and building even more connection, because Lord knows the world can use it.
And you all know someone who should be here soon.
What?
I just said that.
Huh?
Send somebody our way.
Okay, bye.
We'll find you. We'll find you. I know where you live.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, thank you for tuning into today's What's Your Story podcast.
To learn more or share your story, go to jamiemarco.com. That's www.JAIMEMARCO.com. And we will see you next time.